Hello, everybody. Welcome to a very special The Way We Nerd podcast, starring myself, Daniel Villalobos, to my left,
John Hudson,
and as always,
Joshua Potter.
And we are here. This, like I said, this is a very special episode of our show because we are going to introduce The Way We Nerd Network, which, if some of you have followed us, we have the original flagship show, The Way We Nerd, starring myself, Joshua Moorhead, and Kyle Bound, who couldn't be with us tonight because we killed them. I'm just kidding. They just couldn't be here. And now we have also added Hudson to our Way We Nerd show. And we have another show with our friends Alex Wills and Russell Fung, who also cannot be here, so because we killed them. I gotta stop saying that. And that's called Off the Rack.
The
and
clown
it's
got
strictly
them.
comic books.
Yeah, lead into
they're
it or
they're
something.
dead tired.
Yes.
They're dead tired.
They're dead tired.
They're floating. They're floating.
They're floating.
We all float up here.
They all float down, yeah. He hasn't said that yet, has he? In it, by the way. That's
Yes,
a little side
yeah.
note.
He said it. He said it in the first one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
It on the brain.
basically, what we're going to be doing with these shows is we're planning on having, like I said, a network. So it's going to be shows about anything you nerd about. Like, you can nerd about gardening. I mean, there's just whatever you're passionate about. That's what The Way We Nerd is. Like, it's what you nerd out about.
Love a good hoe.
Yeah, exactly.
If we do a gardening pod, I guarantee you we'll get my wife on that because
Yes.
she loves gardening and has a green thumb. So yeah.
I like gardening. I grew my own vegetables for a while with my old friend Javad, my old roommate, and it was a lot of fun. Like I really would love being a farmer. I know it's hard ass work. But,
Well, yeah. But self-sufficiency, you can't put
but
a price
I mean,
on
if
that.
Hawkeye can do it,
Yeah, right?
All he can do is
shoot a bow and
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of Hawkeye,
Speaking of
leading
Hawkeye.
into
So-
Avengers Endgame.
yeah, I was
can,
going to mention we got some
yeah.
comic book news, and I'm going to let John take hold of this because, as everybody knows out there, the Avengers Endgame is chasing the Avatar worldwide record. It's already beaten. Well, actually, no, it didn't even come close to Star Wars' domestic.
Domestic, no.
No.
Domestic.
Which is
Nothing's going to
crazy,
touch
yeah.
domestic.
It's
no.
not.
So
Yeah.
Force Awakens is still that champion, but worldwide champion is still, unfortunately, Avatar, which all of us on the show have. Well, we all don't really like it, but anyway, go ahead and take it away, John Hudson, Miss Prime. Tell us where we're at with this chase.
I would love to, Dan. Well, guys at home and gals at home, it looks like we are going to have Avengers take the place of Avatar as the number one box
Really?
office gross of all time. Yes. Now, there was some back and forth of whether that would happen or not, but as everybody at home may know or may not know, or if you listen to the pod, wink, wink, you know that as of right now, a re-release has occurred, and they've been out there trying to struggle to get the last $50 million they needed over the course of about a month or so. And as of today, about 10 hours ago in the publication that I read, they are a mere $7 million away from doing so. Now, for a point of reference, last weekend, not necessarily 4th of July weekend, but still in the middle of summer, they were able to pull in $1.28 million. So, that being said, you give it till the end of August, let that re-release kind of sit there, waft in the room like a fart elevator, and it's not unfeasible that they can get $2.79 billion and dethrone that team of Blue Tigers. So,
I hope so.
it'll be interesting.
And
I love that. Yeah,
Here's the thing
that's
that a lot of
great.
people aren't really mentioning. It has already beaten Avatar's original release. That's the
Yes.
thing is
Yeah.
Avatar was re-released as well with new footage. So it's not like Avengers is just doing that now. Because you think about it like this, like I was thinking about it, like this is the home run chase like back when Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire were doing it. It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
they're both juicing up to catch that record. So that's basically what these extra scenes. Yeah, that's basically the extra scenes are basically movie steroids. Although it's I don't know. I mean, I heard what the scene was, and spoilers. It's a deleted scene. I'm not going to say exactly what it is, just in case you guys want to see it. But
It doesn't impact the
no,
movie
it doesn't.
in
It's just
any
like-
way.
and it's not a complete scene. That's the
No.
part that upsets me. So because I'll say this: it features the Hulk, but no special effects.
yes.
See, and that's the part that broke me. I was
Like a
just kinda
like a weird crude drawing or whatever it is.
Yeah. So, but to be fair, I don't think
Animatics,
anybody's really going to.
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
to be fair, I don't think anybody's going to shell an extra $15-20 to go see this movie on account of a undone whatever may not be at the end of it. Everybody's going to see this so that it can in fact beat Avatar. Which, if you are a fan of the movie or not, I think that it's very impressive that a summer blockbuster has been able to come out here and beat one of the typical tentpole winter pictures that
yeah.
Star Wars usually does and get the same kind of
yeah.
numbers from there. So.
And there's the other thing. I love that you mentioned that. Avatar had no competition during that time because it was
No.
released at the end of December. So it had that January, February, March, and everybody knows January, February is like where you send movies to die.
Yes.
Like they typically they start to release movies bigger,
All of the bad
that have done
horror
okay now.
spin-offs and sequels.
Yeah, but they pushed
westerns.
Alita.
Yeah, right.
They pushed Alita Battle Angel to February. Originally it was a November choice holiday release. They pushed it to November February where nobody goes to the movies. So,
But in the same time,
unless there's a new rom-com starring Hugh Grant, Julia Roberts. Does that ever happen again?
not
They
for
don't make
many,
those
not
kind of
nearly a
movies
decade.
anymore.
They don't.
Though. That's the thing.
Those mid-budget movies don't
Yeah,
exist.
they don't. They go to Netflix or another streaming service.
Which I'm fine with. That's
Yeah.
Oh no, not Tony.
Well,
Get
you know
shot
what?
again.
spoiler.
It's
in universe.
Yeah, it's prophetic. He fell over dead. So
Tony is no longer with us, and
I was thinking it was more of a collapse, but all right, fell over works.
I love you 3000, Tony.
All right. Now I will say this though, it also had the benefit of being one of the first big resurgences of 3D movies as well. So that was another thing he had going for it. Was
Yes.
this
Avatar?
whole new,
Yes.
Which is why Cameron's supposedly taking so long to do these sequels, is because he wants the technology to be better than what it was when the first Avatar came
does
out.
he? Is that really the reason?
I'm not saying it is, but that's the reason he's giving, even though he's shooting like 17 of them.
Yeah. And then we get to Avatar 6, the search for more money, and you realize what we've been doing the whole time.
I'm much more excited for Terminator Dark Fate than I am for any of the Avatars.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
It looks good.
So-
I was a little because we've been let down in the past
Yeah.
with Terminator since Terminator 2.
Don't you mean the future?
Terminator 2, 1 and 2 are great, and nothing
the
will
best.
touch those. Oh, 2 is by far the best, but
But
I love.
one's amazing too.
It is. I mean, it started the franchise, so you can't deny its its
you-
power, its staying power. But
It made James Cameron because he did
Yes.
Aliens, but that was part of the series.
and Aliens is great, but I waffle back and forth between Alien and Aliens as to which one is my favorite. It's tough because they're two very different. We've discussed this before. They're very different movies. One is straight up horror, space horror. The other one's more of a horror action.
It's more action. That's not even
action,
that scary.
yeah,
Aliens
and-
isn't that scary. It's
Action
shocking.
thriller with
There's a lot of
little
crazy
bit
deaths.
of horrific elements, I guess. Yeah,
And the great
so.
late Bill Paxton. I mean, come on. I mean, anything with Bill Paxton in it, like that makes me happy.
Well, Bill Paxton, Michael
Game
Biehn,
over, man.
Sigourney Weaver. I mean, it's an all-star cast, so you can't deny those guys. But yeah, the other Terminator sequels, I enjoyed them, but
I like
Dark
them.
Fate is
I
a
like the
movie I'm
sequels.
actually excited to see as far as a Terminator movie goes since Judgment Day.
Well, yeah, you got Linda Hamilton back in the scene. That's everything
and
right there.
old Linda Hamilton, who's still a badass.
Oh, yeah.
Which I love.
The original idea for Terminator Salvation, they should have stuck with. Like it was more about Sam Worthington's. Although originally Christian Bale was cast as that Terminator.
Yes.
But he came in. He's like, I want to be John Connor. Make him the hero. Because John Connor was more like kind of like a figurehead in the background. Like you didn't see him very much.
Which is what it should have been.
Way
Yes.
better because the story was about Kyle Reese. That's what that story was. And all the stuff with Kyle Reese and the Terminator and Anton Yelchin was fantastic as
Yes,
Kyle.
he was.
Yeah.
So it's just it's sad, but a lot of these movies have come like they've sniffed greatness, but they can't get there. Something pulls them right back down.
I'll tell you what it is. It's the trailers. Like every trailer that has been released for a Terminator movie since I would say the third one has ruined whatever kind of twist, whatever kind of plot thing you thought you had going. Salvation specifically was ruined because you found the twist of shockers for a movie that's 15 years old. Dude's an android.
Spoilers for everything. folks. Spoilers for everything.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's they did that in the next one, and then this last one they just did with Daenerys Targaryen in the Terminator universe. They
yeah.
turned right around and revealed the plot of the robot again, and it's just like,
Yeah.
what are you doing here? You want to have some kind of mystique or
I didn't know that twist with John Connor was coming though, where they made him the bad guy.
No, they showed it like right in the trailer.
Really? They did, yeah.
They showed him like piece himself together from a bunch of little mini nanobots or something like that. He's like walking down and he has his like fine 3-piece suit and
I
everything.
do remember that.
And I was like, I sat there in the chair thinking, watching the Super Bowl. I was like, you guys did it again. You literally did the same thing you did in Salvation with this one.
Yep. You
But-
know who I wanted more of in that movie? I wanted more of Matt Smith.
Well,
And-
that's the thing because he was going to be he's the big bad.
Yeah.
Because it was supposed to be starting a new trilogy.
Yeah.
Hence the title Genesis.
Gen Weiss.
So
That's fine. You know what? Just to stick on this Terminator thing for
Yeah.
one last bit. I'll tell you what I did like in between Terminator 2 and Dark Fate, which is releasing in September.
I think it's the summer. I think
Or is
it's
it August? Oh, it is August. That's right.
It is, yeah.
I'm in Hobbs and Shaw mode because that movie looks ridiculous and it's going to be so stupid but so worth seeing.
they've
But
that series has fully embraced the absurd. And
Oh, yeah.
knows
I
what
mean,
it
it's-
is, and it's become a superhero movie.
Yeah, it is.
I mean,
It is.
dude, in the trailer, Idris Elba says, "I'm Black Superman." You know, like he just.
And he proves it in the trailer.
And
I
then
mean,
Dwayne Johnson
and
is Black Superman.
I wouldn't be surprised if Idris Elba is Black Superman in real life because that dude's awesome.
That would be cool.
He's got that Asgardian blood.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a long time. There was Will Smith being thrown around as Superman back in the Superman Returns days.
I would have been fine with that. That would have been great.
Who's more All-American than Superman?
Yeah.
I mean, Will Smith.
Will Smith, you still got to bulk him up. I was still like, he's still too gangly for me.
Christopher Reeve,
Yes.
he's the best Superman ever, and he wasn't that buff.
But this is also the days when Adam West could pull out a tight suit and like pull off Batman. Let's just be fair here.
Yes, but back then, that's what I'm saying. I mean, Brandon Routh was bigger now when he played Superman.
Well, because he has to wear that bulky, gaudy, awful Adam
Adam
suit
suit.
on
I'm
Legends
so
of Tomorrow.
happy for him though. He's such a nice guy. I met him once.
Yes.
He was like, it was really cool because it was when we were working at Warner Brothers, and he walked by me after he was coming on the gym, and he's a big dude. I'm like,
6'5".
Yeah, it's like Brandon Routh. And I was like, hey man, I love your show, because he had a sitcom going on at the time with David Cross. Let's leave Iron Man dead.
No!
He
Blu-ray rentals.
He had a sitcom with David Krumholtz, which was pretty decent, and it was a funny show, and it didn't last very long. And then right as soon as he's like, thank you, man, and then he starts walking away, and he's like, and also, I loved you as Superman. Like, don't let anybody tell you different. You were a fantastic Clark, a fantastic Superman. Huge smile on his face. He comes back, and he talks to me for like a few minutes. So he shakes my hand, that's what show I work on. But I'm really happy for Brandon Routh. But anyway, so we are going to take a quick break.
Yes. I didn't mention the Terminator thing. Sarah Connor Chronicles was.
Let's
that's
talk
what
about it after the break.
Well, we
I do
can't
wanna talk about that.
Well, we don't have to talk about it. I'm just saying, like, it's a good bridge between, I guess, Terminator 2 and some of the sequels and stuff. That's all I really wanted to say.
Yes.
We just have our habit of getting on tangents and then another tangent and then another tangent and
Watch Sarah
just trying to
Connor.
figure out how to loop it back. But yeah, Sarah Connor Chronicles is a great show. Yeah.
And we will be-
Summer Glau was in it.
Yes. When we come back, we'll get into some a little bit more news, and then
Spider-Man.
see you soon.
Thwip.
There you go. That's what I was looking for.
Welcome back, everybody, to The Way We Nerd. I am Daniel Villalobos, and I don't think we need to introduce ourselves again, but we're going to keep that there because I like saying my name.
All right.
Good name.
Joshua Potter, John Hudson. All right. So we were when we left off a second ago, we were talking about Terminator, but I think we pretty much wrapped that up.
Yeah.
But what Josh was saying, in case you didn't catch it, was just the Sarah Connor Chronicles is a very underrated section of the Terminator franchise because it didn't get its third season, which it should have, because I think they had a 3-season plan.
They did.
It ends on a
believe,
cliffhanger,
yeah.
a fantastic cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Spoilers. John Connor ends up in the future. Young John Connor, by the way. So we never really got to finish there, but it is Lena Headey. I mean, it's kind of. I just realized something. Both Cersei and Daenerys played Sarah Connor.
Yeah.
I didn't realize until just now. She was a very worthy successor to Linda Hamilton.
Yes.
Which we're obviously very excited. We mentioned earlier her returning to the franchise. As far as news goes, I thought I had another piece of news, but I can't remember what it was. Well, you know what? I wanted to discuss comic books a little bit because this is. I mean,
that's fair. That's
is
newsworthy.
kind of what we do
Yes.
here.
Yeah.
This is you know, like I said, it's a Way We Nerd special, so we're gonna incorporate our other show, Off the Rack, and as you can see, we brought some comic books.
Just
all
a
of us
few.
here. Before we get into
A stack.
into the big guy, because we're gonna talk about him at the end there.
You know what's fun?
I wanted to mention
Hudson,
this.
while he's doing that. Well, you were sorting. I thought. But
Oh, no, I'm ready.
I thought I had a second, but this is a fraction of my collection. Is the thing. Like these are all my Marvel trade paperbacks, or most of them, and they look like a tall stack, but it's very small compared to.
Oh, dude, you're
The whole
speaking
thing?
of
Oh,
the
yeah.
Yeah,
No one's
yeah,
bringing their whole
it's great.
collection here. For
I
anything.
guarantee
Well,
you.
we could, but
I guarantee you, I have
We
more
wouldn't
Spider.
fit.
I have more Spider-Man books than any other character. Like I
same.
have probably
Absolutely.
7-8 small boxes worth of just Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think
So-
mine's got to be X-Men because between Wolverine and the mini X-Men series, I think that's got to be it.
Yeah.
Wasn't that something we talked about last time? Like who was on the most covers, Wolverine or Spider-Man?
Yes,
Yes.
Wolverine
Not
won like
covers.
by 30.
It wasn't covers. It was just appearances. No, it won by more than that.
oh yeah, appearances.
Spider-Man was
Yeah.
second, but it was like 200 appearances.
No, it was Batman,
Batman,
Superman,
Wolverine,
and then
No, it was Batman, Wolverine, Spider-Man.
Superman came in behind Batman.
No way.
Wolverine was the first
Yes,
Marvel one.
he
Yeah.
did. No, Superman came in behind Batman.
They've been
I
going since like
remember
the
that.
1930s,
Yep.
man. So
Yeah.
it's like,
That's very true.
yeah. But
That's fine. Anyway,
comics.
You have comics.
I do
to
have
show.
comics.
Let's see them.
I just wanted everybody out there, if you're not reading this series, and I like to show this one because this one's actually worth quite a bit of money right now. Last time I checked it up, it sold for $120. This is Naomi #1, and it's a brand new Brian Michael Bendis created character. I've mentioned a little bit on the Off the Rack pod, and it's basically it's a brand new superhero. Like, she's a brand new superhero. She has a very, I don't want to say similar story to Superman, but she does share a few things with Supes. And Brian Michael Bendis is writing Superman right now as well. He's writing Superman and action.
Isn't it still kind of because I haven't read any of Naomi yet, because it's selling like hotcakes out of comic
you gotta wait for a
shops.
trade.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to have to do, or steal yours. But I don't want to open #1, especially now that it's worth money.
Yeah.
You should keep that sealed, especially if you've read it. So.
And I think my boy at my comic book shop, Black Cat Comics, by the way, I'm going to give a free plug to them right now because they rule. Kyle and his wife Bunny, it's on Magnolia in Burbank, and you should definitely go visit them. He has a great toy collection too, not just comic books. His toy collection is insane,
and they're wonderful people.
They are very
nice.
very good people.
Yeah.
But I think he knows Brian Michael Bendis. I think he said was he there? No, it was Mark Waid. No, he both. So
either way,
I mean, either way or both. That's
I'm
fine.
just saying, like, if I can get this autographed by Brian one of these days. But the good thing is that is a little tease of the future, because we are going to try to bring some celebrity guests in here from television, movies, and of course comic books. Because even all the way down from the writer all the way down to the letterer, I don't like to say down, because if you look on the comics, they're all.
Oh yeah.
We see them in the
there's
title.
usually
they have
5.
It has the
4 or 5.
the writer,
depends.
artist, colorist, letterer.
Yep.
So they all get credit because it's definitely a joint effort to put these books together. So
my
I
question.
hope to get as many comic book people on this show.
Oh yeah, well we should. My question, because we talked about Naomi a few pods back. It's been some pods now, but wasn't Naomi's origin or who she is?
Revealed it.
They just revealed it. Okay.
They revealed it in issue. I'm a little behind. I just read issue 5, and I want to say they're up to 6 or 7, but they just revealed it in issue 4, and then 5 is her first appearance in costume, which is an important book. So if there's still 5 out there, go buy it, because it'll be. If she takes off the way she already has, because, I mean, it's great because it's a young female African American character, and they're starting to get a lot more representation. And I love walking around and seeing little girls wearing Captain Marvel shirts and Black Panther shirts.
Oh yeah,
it's just
Wonder Woman.
The idiot that ran Marvel, and I'm gonna name drop him because I don't like him. Ike Perlmutter. Oh, God, I hate that guy. Perlmutter. There you go.
Yeah. Anyway,
this is the idiot who said, "Oh, girls don't buy toys. Girls don't buy superhero stuff." Okay, that's right. Captain Marvel made what, $1 billion? So yes, they did. Sorry, I get a little hot under the collar.
No, it's great.
Passionate.
I mean,
yes.
To exclude any race, gender, whatever at this point from anything, I think is silly, and you're doing a disservice to your brand, because clearly there are a ton of female video gamers, a ton of female comic book readers, toy buyers, collectors. Actually, at one point, I think there were more. They did some sort of study or something, but there were more female video gamers than there were male video gamers.
There's more nerds out there,
which is awesome. Like, we're all nerds, so who cares what you look like, or
right.
On the video game thing?
Well, yeah. Like, I feel like a lot of it has been. You're correct that this group has been there the entire time. The only reason we're finally getting stats like this, where people are coming out and saying, is because you do have a huge contingency of the video game industry existing as watch people play games.
Yeah.
Oh
and
yes.
Doing that, I think that with it being such a male-dominated genre, young prepubescent teenage boys, you have a little bit of a predisposition to want to watch somebody who you're more interested in. Now, that couldn't go either way, but
sure,
yeah. But I think that's why these kind of stats, these numbers are coming out now, because everyone's so proud to thump their chest and be like, "I play video games," yeah. Where 10, 20 years ago would have been a much more kind of in the closet sort of hobby to have.
And that's what Kevin Smith used to always say about Star Wars too. Like, when he was a kid, Star Wars, it wasn't cool to like Star Wars.
Yeah.
And nowadays it's different. Like, everybody wears their nerd badge proud.
Yeah.
As they should.
You're weird if you're not a nerd.
That's the most important message. Be who you are.
Everybody's nerdy about something. That's the thing.
Just real quick before we move, and I'm gonna let you guys get any books you want to mention that aren't the meat of this show, which is going to be Spidey.
You know what I'm here to talk about. You know
I
what
just
I'm
want to
here
mention two independent books out there because support your independent books, folks.
Yes.
Marvel and DC are going to always sell, but right now, Red Sonja is fantastic, written by Mark Russell, who's also writing. He's writing a Marvel, either Marvel or DC. What's he writing? Oh my God, he's writing something big too.
It'll come to you.
I'll remember it later in the pod. But anyway, Mark Russell's a fantastic writer. He's very witty, and it's not. It's everybody should be reading Red Sonja. I think it's actually better than Conan, and I like Conan a lot.
Ooh, that's.
Those are heavy words.
I like
Those are very heavy
Conan
words.
a lot.
Jason Aaron
and Gary Dugan's too.
Yeah.
This is the best Swords and Sandals book out right now.
All right.
Red Sonja
I
should be read.
haven't read the new stuff, and I haven't read Mark Russell's run yet. But I would argue that Red Sonja has been good since Marvel started doing it way back when.
yeah.
And I've got
Dude, she was Conan's sidekick.
Yeah,
which
for-
is always
for a little
weird.
bit, yeah.
I wouldn't even call her sidekick.
Not sidekick. I would say
she was her own entity.
Yeah,
Well,
she
yes,
teamed
but
up
she
with
got
him
in-
from time
yes.
to time.
But I mean, but she could have been. Arnold could have been Conan in that movie.
Yes.
Red Sonja movie. For some reason, he was Caldor, whatever the hell they call him.
Whatever.
Muscle.
The
Anyway.
movie was fine. I would
Yes.
say it's pretty dated. I would love to see a remake
They
of
are.
Red Sonja.
Red Sonja's full on remake, and they fired idiot singer Bryan Singer, and now they.
Oh,
He
that's
was gonna
right.
do that?
I forgot he was gonna
Why
do
would
it.
you let him anywhere near a comic movie?
Bye
Bye-bye.
Bryan Singer.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. I'm not sad to say goodbye to you, brother. No.
Oh
I
man.
don't know why you just called you brother, asshole.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. Say goodbye to him, just like Kevin Spacey was freaking
Good.
Predators. And this is the other one I wanted to say. There's a fantasy out there, and I think this is going to be the new saga. It's called Fair Lady. Well, not Fair. Yes, Fair Lady. And it's wonderful. Like
And
it's
Image
it's
Comics.
Image. Yeah,
Nice.
this is an image book. And
I like Image Comics.
Well, Image is cool because Image is still
It's creator owned.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah.
everybody owns their books, and they don't interfere with their storytelling. And
You know, another good Image book that I've talked about on Pod. I have the first two trades for is Skyward. Skyward is really.
you
cool.
told me about that one.
chatting
I do
about
want
that,
to
yeah.
see that one.
Yep.
I do want to read that one.
Yeah,
for
basically
sure.
Earth's gravity is not entirely gone, but if you jump off of a skyscraper, you're going into space and dying because
Yeah.
gravity has been affected by things and stuff. I don't want to ruin it because it's a great book. You should just go read it.
Has it been outlawed by the Trump administration? No gravity. Gravity is racist. Gravity doesn't belong
Gravity's
here.
bad.
I'm not racist, but gravity is.
Hey man, if you don't like gravity, just leave. Just float away.
Yeah. Just float away.
You know what? We're gonna build a wall.
Yeah, we're gonna
keep the
keep
gravity out.
Go keep the gravity out.
Yeah, keep gravity out. That'll show everybody.
Gravity's gonna pay for it.
It's gonna be connected to Space Force. Space Force. Like, I really do think we do need space exploration. Like, I agree with him there, but I don't think he's talking about exploration.
He's not. He's talking to rile up all his base. He thinks it's super cool to go out into space and bang alien bimbos and wield lightsabers. That is what he's trying to appeal to. He's not any science behind it. And the man is an invalid. I don't want to talk about it anymore. What are we here to talk about?
Yes.
No. We're
This
not
is
gonna.
making me angry.
Yeah, right.
And Iron Man is dead. and now
Iron Man-
Spider-Man is
we
too.
killed Iron Man and Spider-Man.
They both
We're
died.
supposed to be talking about Spider-Man.
That just messed up our sound too. That's great. All right. Well,
I'm sure it's fine.
Did you guys have any more news or anything? Like I like I said, I just wanted to mention new comic books. But is there anything you guys
I
have before we get into oh boy?
I had a little bit of thing, but it pertains to this. So
Okay.
So, but did you have any news
Maybe.
beforehand?
No. I mean, movie-wise, there's a lot of good movies out right now. Not just Spider-Man: Far From Home. So go see some
right.
movies.
Because
You know.
there's a lot of good movies out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And then sorry.
Well, just really quick before the minute goes up, what I found out was the deal between Spider-Man. Well, basically, what the deal with the MCU potentially making Spider-Man 3 coming up.
Gotcha.
And
Everybody's
so
falling
that
over.
was my big kind of thing. There. We can start that when we come back. From the
All
break.
right,
So
cool.
we can
We'll
go
get
to it
back
now.
from the break. We're gonna talk Marvel movies because the future of Marvel is now, and Hall H is
They
gonna
did
rock.
a Marvel Now. Marvel Now was a thing before the new Marvel Cinematic Universe.
We're gonna be Hall H. If anybody's going to, because when we're recording this is Comic-Con week, which hopefully next year we will have a booth there. But it's
Yes.
this week.
No, we will. I'm putting it out to the universe. Next year, Way We Nerd, Comic-Con.
I'm gonna end it on that. All right, we'll see you guys in a sec. Welcome back, everybody. It's time to get into the meat of the pod and the big fat juicy burger between the bread, or turkey burger, or vegetarian burger, or Beyond Burger, whatever you guys eat out there.
Impossible Burger.
Exactly.
Beyond and Impossible are kind of the same thing.
The
I
protein,
think.
basically, the protein of our show.
In 20 years, we're all going to be eating lab grown beef balls anyway, so it doesn't really
in
matter.
cubes or in a pill where you just eat it and then it expands in your mouth and it's or your stomach and it's a full meal and you're
Talk
full.
some IKEA stuff now. I don't know. Man.
I really do.
I ate a pill and I'm full.
I really hope I'm dead by then.
Right?
But
I want to chew my food. I don't want to swallow it. Well, I want to swallow it after I chew. Never mind.
You want
Sure,
the right
it's no
order.
surprise that I enjoy food.
Spider-Man. Far from home.
Spider-Man
God,
does
we're
whatever
so good at
Spider
derailing
can.
ourselves. It's
Oh,
amazing.
it's uncanny.
a skill.
We're bringing it back.
Amazing, spectacular.
I wanted to show this off
Oh, I see. Perhaps even ultimate.
because
Mayhap.
this is the comic.
Sensational?
Okay.
Did we
Spidey
say
is very
sensational?
important to me. You guys are still talking. What are you talking?
There's so many Spider
There's
titles.
so many
Sensational,
Spider-Man, man.
amazing, spectacular.
Yeah.
Come on.
So, when I was a kid, two monumental things happened. Tim Burton brought out a movie called Batman, starring Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson.
Yes.
It was okay. Just kidding.
After watching that
loved
movie,
it.
I was like, why am I not reading whatever this is based on?
Yeah.
So I went out and I had a few comic books, but I didn't really have very many because I was more of a baseball card collector. But then I read the other monumental event was Todd McFarlane, Spider-Man. This thing had like 85 covers. I'm exaggerating, but
At
there was a
least.
lot.
No,
Oh, no,
I
you're not.
think 85 is.
And I had a few of
You
them.
know what? I'm
Yeah.
gonna look. You keep talking. I'll
Yeah,
look.
I had
I'll
a few
look
of them, but this is the Spider-Man story that got me into comic books in general, and that was when I was 12, and I have not stopped reading them since. So that's 30 years, literally 30 years ago. Next year, I'll be 42 in August. I'll be reading comic books for 30 years exactly,
go.
and I don't intend on stopping. But there's so many, like Josh was saying, there's so many
11. 11 covers.
11 covers
technically
of Todd
of that.
McFarlane's.
Well, actually no, because there's they went back and did the half and -1 or whatever that come slightly before that one. So that the legacy comics or whatever you want to call it. So technically,
This hologram's probably gonna mess with the camera, or it's not gonna show up right. but-
seven covers of that. That's
you-
number one.
there's always at least 3 Spider titles going at once. Back in the day, it was the amazing Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man, and Web of Spider-Man, and then eventually Todd McFarlane came in and became the 4th. And right now, there's also four series going on. There's Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, the Amazing, of course.
Yep. Superior.
Superior Spider-Man, and I'm missing one. Oh, this one right here.
Life
So
story.
this is a mini-series.
It is.
Life story. Spider.
6 issues.
6 issues,
Yeah.
and it's just every decade. So
It's so good.
yeah, it is really.
And it's
good.
kind
I
of
remember this one.
a-
It was the '80s, number 3.
It's kind of a. I think it's set more in an alternate Earth. I don't think it's 616 continuity.
No, no.
I might be wrong on that, but
No.
it's basically what would have happened if you were seeing Spider-Man's life throughout each
Yeah.
decade.
There's
which
also-
which is very interesting. I think it's
also
Bagley. Bagley's doing it, and
yeah, Mark
I
Bagley's
love
drawing.
Mark Bagley.
Mark Bagley drew some of the best Spider books.
That's
back
when
in
I
the,
started reading Spider-Man is with Mark
in the
Bagley stuff.
late '80s,
Early to mid 90s.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
384, I think, and
He drew the Clone Saga, didn't
386. Yeah, he did a lot of it. Well, the Clone Saga.
Well,
this
it's
is
way
why.
bigger.
This is why. We haven't even started to talk about Far From Home yet. But my thing about the Clone Saga, because I've been reading up on this, because the Clone Saga, it was maligned at the time, and it's why Marvel almost went bankrupt, because the editors latched onto this idea and were like, let's prolong it as long as possible because people seem to love it at the time. So it was running in and out of every single Spider book. So you were releasing whatever it was. I think you were releasing an issue of it each week, if I remember right. So you had, 4 Spider books in a month, sometimes more than that if they were doing specials or whatever. And it was just too much. It was way too much. The writers had a story that they wanted to tell, but then they had to keep prolonging it and expanding it. And that's when you get like the Mark of Cain, and you get, all of these other, the Traveler and all this other stuff thrown in there. And it just massively watered it down and kind of caused a kind of cave in, essentially. Because it was just too much. I love Spider-Man, don't get me wrong, and I actually like the Clone Saga for what it is. I thought it was an interesting idea. Same as Doc Ock taking over Spider-Man. Yeah, basically.
Which I'm glad they brought Superior back. That was
yeah.
a fantastic run with Dan Slott.
Now, I will say, I think the Spider-Verse crossover saga, I think that was a much better story than the Clone Saga. But at the time,
Spider-Verse was so good.
it was so good. You had all of the Spider-Men and women ever thrown into one story.
Which everybody knows how good that movie was. Out there has seen it, and if you haven't seen it, you should watch it. It's not exactly the same story.
It has nothing to do with that story at all.
It actually
Because
doesn't.
you don't have you don't have the inheritors searching for the spider totems and all that stuff.
I bet you that's coming though.
I would love
They're
it.
making
if
a
that
sequel,
came
and I
out
bet you
with
that's
it.
coming. Miles
But I don't-
Morales also has a book. Miles Morales and Spider-Gwen. Those are the other two books.
Oh, yeah.
Spider books out there. And Black Cat now has a book.
Yes, she does.
So,
Yep. I
her
love
own
Black Cat.
book.
Black Cat was always.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She's
What's
hot.
Come on now.
She's hot. Like Yeah, it's like
She was the bad
dude,
girl.
Like it goes Mary Jane back and forth between Mary Jane and Black Cat. I mean, Peter
Yeah.
Parker,
Well,
greatest
she's got
nerd ever.
Yeah, well, she's got an eclectic look too. It's that white hair, man. Like I said, it
Yeah.
just stands out in the crowd.
It does.
That plus, the thieving steals. Anyway, you were saying.
Well,
Oh no, I was just gonna say. Let's get into Far From Home.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
right now, big time spoilers. By the way, if you have not seen Far From Home, turn us off now. Go watch it, then
if
come
you
back and
haven't
turn
seen
us back on.
Endgame by now, probably should stop.
If you haven't seen Endgame,
We got to be
them.
them.
Come on, come on. What are you doing at this
You're
point?
the
Go,
worst
go
comic
right
book-
now. Go
you're the
right
worst
now and then
movie
finish
fan
this
ever.
later. Yeah.
Hashtag beat Avatar.
Yes, hashtag beat her for sure. Go see Endgame. See it again. See it for
Yeah.
a second or third time.
I'm going to.
So
At some
Far
point.
From Home deals with the aftermath of the Endgame, or the snap, or the what do we call
blip.
it?
The blip. Yes,
is what they
the
call
blip.
it now.
Uh-huh,
Yeah.
uh-huh.
So and it's kind of cool because it delves into a lot of that. Like Spider-Man: Far From Home is very much a sequel to Endgame. Like it's just
It's set pretty close to right after. I mean, it's summer. Well, it's summer break. You know,
I think it is almost like
It's several months afterwards that happens. So
Yeah.
whatever, if Avengers took place in the fall, this would be the summer afterwards or something
Okay.
like that. Because they
That
talk
makes
about
sense.
like we've been getting back to school for a couple months now.
Yeah,
and,
that's
boy,
right.
Geez,
They
it
said
seems
it-
to be weird.
we was
Yeah.
at the end of the year and they made us start over or whatever. They made that
Yeah.
fun joke.
That's
And
kinda
they had that
hilarious.
great joke with Flash too when he's like in the first class and he's drinking champagne. And it's like, hey, no matter what his ID says, he blipped. He's actually 16 or whatever. He's
They
like,
take it
oh,
away.
and they take it away from him.
which is funny though, because in Europe he would have been able to drink legally.
True, but he wasn't in Europe yet.
He was not.
He was still
not.
in
No,
America.
I'm just.
Technically, he's over international waters where there's no really laws.
Not
anyway,
yet,
so.
though. Not at that
That was
point.
still at the
They were
airport.
still getting
They
on the
were
plane,
okay,
remember?
yeah.
I thought they were over the seas.
I love this version of Flash. All his friends and side characters, I guess.
Betty Brant is
Betty
great.
Brant
Oh my
is
god.
fantastic.
Betty and Ned.
Zendaya as MJ she's so good.
I love it. And
Jacob Batalon as Ned, and I
Ned leads.
really hope they let him become who Ned is supposed to become.
I'm wondering if they're going to let him do that because I was expecting something to allude to that in this movie, but we didn't get any crumbs or anything like that.
We didn't,
He kind of
but-
did his own thing.
And we'll get into the theories of where the Spider-Man universe is going because I
think it'll be a while
this
before they do
I have
that.
this theory on what's coming next and what's going to come right after that. I have a feeling they're going to shoot 3 and 4 back to back, but I could be wrong. But
well, let's talk about
But
the
let's talk about
possibility
Far
of
From
doing
Home.
3 and 4 even too. I mean, we were just talking
yes,
about
John, you said you
kind of the
you had a-
contractual obligations and negotiations
rumor.
and
Yeah, because
how that works.
Because right now the going rate that I keep hearing back and forth was who gets to make this third Spider-Man movie. Because I heard some were saying that MCU has the rights. Some say that Sony's going to retain the rights. For me personally, I always thought they were going to get a 6-picture deal using Tom Holland and Spider-Man. And once you're done with your 6 pictures, that's it.
which they've already got 5, right?
Right, so there are 5. So the next one
Technically,
should
yeah.
be the 6th one, unless they're going to try to sneak him into some other movie somewhere along the line, which they shouldn't do, but I digress. The rumor
No,
states
if they're
that...
smart, they start shooting Spider-Man 3 tomorrow.
If they're smart, but here's the thing about it. Spider-Man 3 and who gets to make it depends entirely on whether or not the box office for Spider-Man Far From Home reaches $1 billion. So if it does crack $1 billion, that means the MCU will continue to make the deal they're doing now, where Sony puts up all the money, the MCU makes it, and I'm not sure if they're splitting the funds or Sony's getting the majority of the money back. I think Sony might actually be getting the majority of the money back there. But it all kind of depends on that, which leads to the point of you saying how this is a nice little sequel to Endgame in the way that it wraps up Phase 3. Because originally, Endgame was supposed to end Phase 3.
Yes,
and
it was.
Kevin Feige was on record saying that Spider-Man would be the perfect character to walk us into Phase 4, which has now changed. And a lot of the reason that people think this rumor is true comes from that stance, where it went from being a Phase 4 beginning movie to a Phase 3 ending movie, because the way you make sure you get $1 billion in the box office, regardless of it being Spider-Man, is you give people a need to come see it. And how do you do
Yes.
that? Then by making a direct sequel to the biggest movie of all time, hopefully soon.
smart, very smart. It's
Well,
very
it's
smart.
already
yeah.
it's 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks into release, and it's already at 852 million. So
Oh yeah, that's
it's gonna definitely
It'll
we're
be
gonna
fine. Yeah.
it's gonna
Yeah.
get to $1 billion.
The thing is, at this point, like I know Sony is never going to give up the rights unless Disney buys Sony, which God forbid that happens,
I don't
because
want
we
that
don't
to
need
happen.
that to happen. But the thing is, it's a lucrative deal for both companies, and Disney, even if Sony is getting the lion's share of the return on it, Disney's not sweating that. They got Star Wars, they got Indy, they got Avatar, which that's why this whole Avatar race is kind of funny to me, because Disney owns both properties. So yes, I would love to see Avatar beaten, just because then, yay, Avatar has been beaten and dethroned.
Yeah.
But it's kind of silly at the same time. You know,
Yeah.
Devil's Advocate, it's silly, but they're not sweating. They're not sweating return on Spider-Man movies. But it's nice to have Spider-Man in the MCU. That's
yeah.
the thing. And he's such a
He belongs
flagship
there.
character, an iconic character.
Is.
He needs
is
to be
their
there.
flagship character. Like Wolverine may have had more appearances as we discussed on other pods. He might even be more popular. But Spider-Man, Spider-Man is more recognizable.
Yeah,
like we were
exactly.
saying earlier
Yeah.
with on another pod, the Superman symbol is more recognizable symbol than the cross, than the
Or at
the
least as.
Christian
Yeah.
cross.
Yeah.
Well, it's just because there's a lot of religions out there, there's a lot of countries out there that don't really have any Christianity, but they know what
That's
Superman
fair.
is. Even if they don't know comic books or whatever, they know that symbol. Like that symbol is just so recognizable. Yes. But Spider-Man, like if you remember, they still don't do it anymore, but maybe they still do. Like when you got the subscription Marvel Comics, instead of a barcode, you would get Spider-Man's face usually, or
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
would put Captain America on there when they were celebrating like his
50th
anniversary,
anniversary.
or
Yes,
X-Men
yeah.
or Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Because like Fantastic Four is what brought Marvel back, or what saved Marvel. Spider-Man and the X-Men blew it up.
Yes.
Like it made Marvel what it is today. Well, Stan Lee and his cohorts.
And that's why Far From Home is gonna blow up Phase 4 for us, and
Yes.
yeah, get us started.
So back to
yeah.
Spider-Man
Talk
Far
about
From
Facebook.
Home.
Yeah.
Yes. So in case you guys don't know the story here, and I've already told you guys spoilers.
Yeah.
Give
Peter
us the
Parker
10
just
peso version.
Peter
30
Parker
seconds.
just wants to be a kid. He wants to go to Europe with his friends and have a fun trip. And of course, Nick Fury doesn't want that because Nick Fury needs an Avenger. And
Classic Fury.
Oh.
Classic Fury. And Spidey's the only one around. And that brings me to because I want to ask you guys this. I had a conversation with Josh Moorhead and Kyle Bound about there's a certain line, because it turns out, by the way, that Nick Fury is not Nick Fury in this movie.
Well, he is.
What?
He
What?
is Nick Fury, but not the Nick Fury we know.
it's
But he
the-
is. But
It's the Skrull, Ben Mendelsohn
It's
from Captain Marvel.
Talos.
Talos, yeah.
Talos.
Talos, and what's her name?
I've heard it both
Now, my
ways.
question to you guys,
It's his wife.
there's a
too,
moment
right? Yeah, it's him and his wife. Yeah.
through the whole movie, I noticed Nick Fury was acting kind of different.
Yeah.
Like it was still Nick, but there was something off about him. But I didn't think
You know,
didn't think that was happening. I thought it was just
he
him
was-
dealing with the fact that he blipped away and he came back.
He's very aggressive when he came back. Very.
yeah.
And
yeah.
for me, the moment it really sunk in, and I was like, oh, I'm questioning whether this is Nick Fury or not, because John and I have been predicting, and I know you've been talking about it too, that a Secret Invasion storyline might hit the MCU eventually, or at least some version of it. Because if you've seen Captain Marvel, there's that sect of Skrulls, or that clan of Skrulls, whatever you want to call them, they're good. They're fine. They could turn bad. Something could happen with Talos' daughter, who might be Varanki, the queen of Skrulls. But not all the Skrulls are necessarily good. There could be some bad ones out there. Hence why we might still get a Secret Invasion storyline. But when it kind of hit home for me is when he was bringing Spider-Man back to headquarters in Italy, I guess.
And they're under the ground.
And he's
Yep.
like, you can take your mask off. Everybody here knows who you are. And I was like, but do they? Because up until that point, the only character who retained their secret identity was Spider-Man. And I was wondering, how long are they going to maintain that within the MCU, because everybody else's identities are known. And then they just threw it to the wind right there. So I was like, I don't know if this is actually Nick Fury, if Mysterio is already setting some stuff up and his trickery, or if Fury is a Skrull. And then I didn't think about it till the end, and he revealed it, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, yep, that makes sense.
All I want to know, and this is why I brought the Skrull thing up early, because there's a moment early on when Nick Fury is telling Peter, or Peter's telling him, why don't you get Thor off planet? Why don't you get Captain Marvel? And when she mentions Captain Marvel, Nick Fury says, don't invoke that name. Now, the way he says it, in my opinion, he's saying it with some ice. Like it sounds like there was some kind of falling out between Talos and Captain Marvel, because obviously when we left off those two, it was in the 90s, so
Yeah.
a lot could have happened in 20 something
Well,
years.
and I think we're going to see some of that in Captain Marvel
But
too.
here's
for sure.
here's my question to you guys. Now, I thought when he said that he had kind of a negative kind of sound in his voice when he said that. Josh and Kyle disagreed with me and thought that it was more of a reverence thing. But why would he say that? Why we don't invoke her name? Like, because invoke usually means that you don't. It's not like, she who should not be named.
She's. I took it more of as in reverence as well, because if you look at, and especially because he ends up being Talos, you find out in the movie, that is the penultimate hero. They've been blasting it from the radios. They've been.
But then why wouldn't you want her to be there? Then?
This is beneath her. That's where the reverence came in. It's like, don't invoke her name, because this task to go fight this Crumbum, Mysterio, or not Mysterio, but these elementals, that's below Captain Marvel.
I haven't heard that one in a while.
What are you talking about? They're talking about this.
Let's bring that back.
I mean, they were talking about this was going to end the world.
That's true. They were saying that, but if you're really concerned about that, let's be honest. Talos did what he could do. He found the best person he could find, which was Spider-Man, who he knew who to go get because he was down here for that purpose to find him anyway.
Fury's direction, yeah. The real Fury, yeah.
He had no other heroes. He had to convince Spider-Man, even though it was a bad threat, that he had to help him, otherwise he was screwed.
Well, I mean, I don't think he chose wrong.
Spidey,
no.
Sure.
Spidey is definitely, even though he doesn't think he's ready, he's because one of the big plot points in this movie is the fact that they're calling him the next Iron Man.
Yeah.
Iron Man is now gone. We need a new one.
Who's going to be
Jake
the next one?
Gyllenhaal looks like Mysterio, which we're going to get to him right now. He looks like he's trying to fill that void.
Right.
But Peter.
But it's all an illusion.
Right. He is who Tony. He is who Tony handpicked.
Yes.
Yeah. And he gets these awesome glasses, which we'll talk about as well.
Edith,
yeah. And there's a moment, one of my favorite moments in the entire movie, when they're on the plane, Tony's private plane, and Happy is watching Peter work that holographic.
He's making himself his new suit because his other suit
he
was.
Put his hand in there the way Tony does it. And he starts to do this, and there's this look, and his eyes start to water on Favreau's face, on Happy's face, and
God, I love Jon Favreau.
And he looks at him and he goes, "What?" And he's like, "Nothing. I'll cue up the music."
Yeah,
and then he starts AC/DC, and he goes, "Oh, I love Led Zeppelin." It's just it's such a wonderful moment. But I teared up a little bit during that part.
It's great. No, it's that was a wonderful moment.
When Happy tells him, "It's like I miss him too, kid." It's like one of those things that people forget about that relationship, Happy and Tony.
Well, they were together
such a strong
for
one
so
in the comic
long.
books too.
Yeah.
I mean, in the comic books, it's Happy who ends up with Pepper. Although they've kind of lately they've gotten Tony and Pepper together, but originally Tony and Pepper had like a Moneypenny Bond thing going.
Comes back to the movies though, because like I said, Marvel's been just trying to emulate the movie universe they have in their comics, which is both a good and a bad thing, I think, because it makes a concentric story, but you also limit your narrative storytelling capabilities with that. So, but it's what they're going to focus on, and I say that's. I'm not sure if we're jumping into where we're going prediction wise, but I think that wholeheartedly, Phase 4 is going to be, like you said, the search for the next Avengers, and that's what you're going to see is the underlying current this entire time. Heroes are going to be doing their things here and there, but I expect the culmination of all this to end in something big that I'll talk about, because I'm assuming we're going to get to here in a second, but it will culminate with the battle for the soul of Iron Man as the public knows him.
Yeah. Plus, you know what, I shouldn't feel too bad for Happy, because Happy looks like he might end up with May.
Marissa Tomei.
Yeah, exactly.
Marissa Toe, Aunt May.
But there was a meme going around where every incarnation of Spider-Man we've gotten, Aunt May's gotten younger and younger and hotter and hotter.
Yeah.
It's just great. I mean, I've loved every version of Aunt May that we've had so far, and it's great that Marissa Tomei is May now for Tom Holland's Peter Parker. I think that's a perfect.
It's very fitting. It's very fitting. All right, then. So we're going to have to take a little break here, and we will see you momentarily where we'll wrap up our Spider-Man Far From Home
predictions
conversation. Predictions. Predictions.
Yes, predictions. I love it.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Way We Nerd Spider-Man Far From Home edition.
I forgot the name of our show.
This is the first video one we've done, and you're
oh, I'm so silly. I belong on the air, like I have a face for radio, as they say.
No.
We're all very handsome men.
Oh,
so
I'm so handsome. I don't want to look at the camera and break it. So,
I like that. Looking very handsome in your Hopper shirt there.
Yeah.
If you guys have not seen Stranger Things season 3, we will do a pod on that, by the way.
Yes.
But we have to wait for this gentleman to watch it.
Stranger Things, Dungeons and Dragons. We'll throw everything in there. I think all of the Stranger Things culture,
nerd
80s nostalgia.
Stranger Things soup. Yeah, I love that show so much. It's become my favorite show. It's the one I look forward to the most, and we're probably only going to get one more season with these kids. But anyway, so back to Spider-Man: Far From Home. I want to talk about Jake Gyllenhaal's Mysterio. Now, I just want to give a little bit of history. If some of you guys probably know this, Jake Gyllenhaal was almost Spider-Man.
Yes.
Back between Spider-Man 1 and 2, Tobey Maguire had a horse riding accident on Seabiscuit.
Yep.
And there were thoughts that he might not be able to come back and where
he hurt his back bad enough that, which is why you get that joke in Spider-Man 2 where he falls onto the car and he's
like, I'm back, and then he falls and he hits the ground. My back.
I mean, it's great. You know, it's funny if you don't know the joke or if you don't know what it's referencing, but it's even better if you know the history. Yeah,
Spider-Man 2 is fantastic.
It is. It's the best one of those three.
It's the best. Yes, and it's still one of the best comic book movies. I have it really high on my list.
It's held up well.
I have both Homecoming and Far From Home really high on my list, and Jake Gyllenhaal was set to replace him if he couldn't return. Yeah. Jake Gyllenhaal would have been a great Peter Parker, but I'm glad he didn't do it because he's a wonderful Mysterio.
Oh man!
And spoilers. He's not dead. I don't care what anybody says. He's not dead.
That was my question. I was going to ask you that. I don't think he is. He can't be.
He's not dead.
No.
He needs to be part of the Sinister Six.
Yes, if we're going to get that movie, he has to be a part of it.
I'll talk to my predictions about that.
There's 2 reasons that I think he's alive, but
cool. We're going to get because I want to get to predictions. But basically, just really quick, just want to suck Jake Gyllenhaal's dick right here, his talent dick right here, because he is so wonderful in this movie. And my favorite part of the movie, because the whole time he's basically playing 2 different parts. He's playing the hero that Peter's supposed to be looking up to, which he plays really well.
Because he's looking for a father figure after Iron Man was his surrogate father, essentially. Especially if you know Spider-Man's origin, you know that Uncle Ben was his father. After his parents left, mysteriously disappeared, whatever. Those of you that read the comics know what happened. But I mean, Iron Man dying, Tony Stark dying in an Endgame, that was huge for Peter.
He lost another father.
Yeah,
like he's lost 3 fathers.
He had to be pulled away by Pepper. It's okay, Peter.
And that's what's always been so great about the Spider-Man mythos is like a lot of his bad guys are father figures' friends. The Lizard, Dr. Octopus, Norman Osborn, Green Goblin.
God,
like he's had
and Harry
either father figures die, or turn on him, try to kill him.
Yeah,
well, that's the gloriousness. It's because the dichotomy and what makes Spider-Man great is he's an everyman. He's a normal guy who, at the same time, is trying to keep this normal life separated from all the superhero responsibilities that he has. Mm-hmm. And as we all comic readers know, you can't do that. So they continually bleed into one another, and you have villains like his professor becoming the Lizard. Yeah. You have like his science teacher becoming Dr. Octavius. Yeah. You have his best friend's dad putting on a Green Goblin mask and throwing his girlfriend
killing his girlfriend.
Yeah, it's like it's going to happen if you try to be an everyman, do this sort of stuff. So
my favorite part of Gyllenhaal's performance, and he has a lot of great moments, but I love the moment when he's in the bar. He gets the glasses from Peter. He says goodbye to him. There's a really emotional moment, a really good moment. And then all of a sudden he smiles and goes, that wasn't so hard, or whatever he says. It's so good because his face just completely changed and he becomes Quentin Beck Mysterio that we all know and love.
Yes.
Because there was a lot of theories going around that this Quentin Beck was going to be a hero, that the other multiverse
hero
thing.
Nah, I didn't believe that for a second.
I wasn't going to call it out any names. But I was the one who was saying, nah, he's going to be a special effects guy. I don't think he's going to be necessarily a failed movie one, because obviously he's really good at special effects, so it's going to be a failure. But what they made is they made him another one of those characters that Tony wronged on his...
Which I thought was perfect for the MCU.
It's still Tony's presence is still being felt after his death.
Yes.
And it's a great moment when they show him from from Civil War. That's the scene from Civil War, right?
Which one?
When he's doing the scene of
Barf.
Civil War.
Barf. Yeah, and he's like, he literally named my program Barf. Quentin Beck is so pissed, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
Now he goes about it the wrong way because he turns supervillain and he wants to kill people, but although he doesn't really want to kill people.
It's not.
He will if he has to.
And he
kind of like Michael Keaton from
yes.
Michael Keaton's Vulture.
He just wants recognition. That's all that it is.
Yeah.
And some sweet dough for him and his associates that are putting this whole show on.
Yeah.
So
he wants that power, that authority.
I want to get to predictions right now. And I'm just going to lead into your question about, your comment about his death, because the movie ends. Well, it doesn't end. He dies,
quote unquote.
And then his right hand man, who was awesome, was a callback from the first Iron Man. The one where Obadiah Stane, Tony Stark built this in a cave with scraps.
Yeah,
and I'm not Tony Stark.
I'm not Tony Stark. He comes back, and he's part of this group, and he takes the thumb drive out of the computer. We don't know what that is yet until we see the end and the glorious return.
J.K. Simmons is J. Jonah Jameson
Yes!
making everybody happy
Yes!
as all get out. Yes, I was so excited. You can't do it. You can't do anybody else but that man
No.
as J. Jonah
If
Jameson.
you still have him, you don't like. It's like the same with James Earl Jones and Lion King. You still have James Earl Jones. Don't cast anybody else.
No.
Mustafa.
Well, and that's why, like, I
Mufasa.
mean, at this point, don't recast Iron Man because he is
for a
Iron
long
Man. I
time.
mean,
Yeah.
Robert Downey
Yeah.
Jr. is Iron Man. Just the stuff he's gonna do
There'll be
outside of
another
it.
Iron Man, but
yeah,
it'll be
like
Tony Stark. That's
yes,
my theory. There's
yes,
gonna be an
yes,
Iron
yes.
something,
That's
Ironheart, or whatever.
Ironheart. Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
So-
Yeah.
So what's
Yeah,
your
it was
what's your
great.
question about the
Well,
death?
the reason that I don't think that Mysterio's dead is two reasons. One, when he gets shot by the robot, that's part of an illusion that he's using to trick Peter Parker, and then he is lured into it like, are you dying? And then he reaches out and grabs his hand, which is holding a gun, by his face. After he stops that bullet from shooting him in the head, Quentin Beck just drops to the ground like he got shot again. He never actually got shot a second time. He just drops down and
Correct.
plays it. And when he asks the computer, Edith, is this real? There are no illusions happening right now. You don't ask the robot, does he have a pulse? Is this man dead?
Yes.
Is there a biorhythm?
They
The signatures
really,
coming out of him?
were clever the way they got around that.
They
Yeah.
completely overrid it. And the other reason, and what cemented it for me, was the fact that if, based on what happened in the end credit scene where Quentin Beck's murder is blamed on Peter Parker, him being back alive vindicates Peter Parker and immediately takes him from villain back to reinvigorated hero, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Because right now, the whole reason they're putting the villain train on him is because this is the first step in what I'm assuming will be many on the road to Dark Reign in the MCU. The
Yes.
first way you do Dark Reign is you vilify your heroes, and then what you do is you have the people who are villains pretend to be heroes,
Yes.
come up over the heroes, and then you have them coming back and try to get back at
a
them.
good storyline. I
And-
love that storyline.
And not
Dark
only
Reign
that,
was great.
Dark Hawkeye.
Yeah, we got the
friggin'
Dark
Bullseye.
Avengers.
if we can
It
do
was the-
Bullseye, Venom, oh my
Yeah,
God.
it was
Yeah.
so good. I
But,
agree.
but here's the thing, and this is why I think it's important because of the route they've gone by making Iron Man and Peter Parker so connected. I think that's really how you're going to boil this down. You're going to have the Avengers coming up to defeat the Dark Avengers, and it's going to come down to this battle of Norman Osborn as the Iron Patriot versus Spider-Man for who's going to carry on as Tony Stark. Because all he has to do in the next movie, Spider-Man 3, Norman Osborn, a billionaire who comes out and tries to solve anybody's problems, politically familiar, is going to come out and sit there, get one up on Spider-Man using the Thunderbolts. They're going to come out as the hero situation. They're going to get Edith. He's going to use it to make his Iron Patriot armor, and then he's going to create the Dark Avengers, and that's going to be the end of your Phase 4.
I like your
Here's-
theory on that because I think I love. I'm going to let you get to this part, Rick. I just want to say I love that they made Jay Jonah, because you mentioned the billionaire. I love that they made Jay Jonah like an Alex Jones conspiracy
Oh, yeah.
theorist.
Oh,
Because it
yeah.
makes more sense than making him a newspaper editor because, well, not newspapers anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Plus, Jay Jonah Jameson would feel more like, he feels more like that.
Yeah.
Like a conspiracy theorist, and it's just fantastic.
I think it's perfect in this world. Well, so my thought is because they're gonna have to put Tom Holland against the Green Goblin at some point, and because everybody wants to see that. Now, did we need to see that in the first Spider-Man movie of this one? No, or even in Far From Home? No. I'm glad that they've saved the Green Goblin because when Tony sells Avengers Tower in Homecoming, there were so many theories about who bought it, like the Fantastic Four, and I was like, nah, they don't have the rights yet. Even if there's dealings behind the scenes, that's not going to happen. So of course the next logical choice would be Norman Osborn, Oscorp, putting Oscorp into the MCU. They were going to let them do it for Avengers way back when. They were going to let them incorporate the Oscorp Tower in the New York cityscape, just as a little like, okay, you guys can have this.
Yeah.
But then they wound up not doing it because I don't think the final model and stuff was ready quite yet, if I remember
they saved
correctly.
it.
I am too, because I think what's happened is Norman Osborn and Oscorp has purchased Avengers Tower, and that's how you're going to bring him in. So who knows? I mean, who knows if there were some remnants or things that were left unpacked. You never know. Like, so I'm saying he may not even need to make his own Iron Patriot armor. He might find the plans or have the plans for it already.
That's what in the comics. They really just moved into the Sentry's Tower, which was Avengers Tower and the thing. So that checks out.
Why not do that? I mean, I think that
plus-
crosses all the boxes, and
sense
there
to
you
me.
go.
I would have liked if they had the Baxter Building in there too. That would be kind of fun. Where the Fantastic Four live, in case you
Yes,
don't know.
but I think they're going to wait. I don't think we'll
No,
see
they
the
are. They
Fantastic
are.
Four until maybe the end of Phase 4 at the earliest.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be a while. I still think Fantastic Four should be a TV show, in my opinion. But I just want to get my quick prediction in for what I think is going to happen. And he's already kind of John Watts kind of somewhat backed up my theory. I think the next movie's bad guy is going to be Kraven.
Dimitri?
Yes, and Watts has already said that that's who he wants to do. And he also said that the Spider-Man 3, though, is going to be. They've already announced this, that it's not going to be anything we've ever seen before, even in comic print. So they're doing something completely original here, and I think I would love it to be Kraven, and then the 4th movie to be Goblin, and then the 5th movie, or if you can even get it all the way to 6, 6th movie should be Sinister Six.
See, I wonder if they're going to play up on the Sinister Six a little bit early, because you're right.
They probably will.
To hunt down Spider-Man, bringing in a hunter is the best suggestion, I would think.
And I think that's a logical choice, especially if Spider-Man is now a quote-unquote villain in the MCU. You bring in Kraven the Hunter to hunt him down, and then he gets to be a part of the Dark Avengers, or
Which,
whatever,
by the way,
or the Thunderbolts, whatever they decide to put him
transfer over.
You
into
should read.
That's true.
Nick Spencer took over for Dan Slott on Amazing Spider-Man, and it's been pretty damn good. If you guys haven't read the new Hunted storyline, do it. That's pretty much all I have to say about Spider-Man Far From Home.
My only other prediction, at least that, because I need to see it again, but I think so. At the end, whatever, bully for you, man.
I don't see it 3 times. Sorry, go ahead.
So you get that little bit at the end where Nick Fury is revealed to be Talos, the Skrull, and then Nick Fury is living the sweet life up in space on a huge space station. I think that's Sword.
Oh, absolutely.
That is 100% Sword, which is an offshoot of S.H.I.E.L.D. in the comics to deal with space threats. So yeah, I think my big prediction, or I guess only other prediction, would be that the space station that Fury's on at the end, when they reveal that Fury has not been Fury the whole movie, is in fact Sword. We're getting our setup of Sword in the MCU, which is great, because that's the space side of S.H.I.E.L.D., and S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't exist, quote unquote, in the MCU right now. But Sword is great because Fury can be up in space and hanging out with the rest of the Skrulls up there. So it's.
Do you think that where he's
cool.
sitting by that little beach thing, it was kind of a nod to Tahiti?
It could have
all
been.
that jokes from that.
Yeah, it could be.
Not
yeah.
jokes, but the whole thing. When Coulson died, he was in Tahiti.
Yeah.
I will say what really
Where
made
my
me...
shoe?
Yeah. I will say what made me interested, just got to close up that point about it being Sword. I think you're entirely right. And what makes that very exciting is Sword is technically a Fox property. So this is the first time we've seen a Fox import into the MCU.
Yes,
Why
it is.
Why is that owned by Fox?
Whenever a character was introduced in the comic books, whichever title it was published under, those would go to the movie rights. So if you made something for X-Men, it goes into the movie X-Men rights. Sword was first shown in Astonishing X-Men #6 in 2004.
Bingo!
By Joss Whedon.
By Joss Whedon.
Yep.
That's a
therefore-
great series.
So they've had to wait to put it up there because Fox owned it technically. But now that the rights have reverted, it's time to have some fun.
That's why I think we're going to get Secret Invasion. We might even get Secret Wars to some extent, some version of that. I don't know.
I'm telling you, I think that if you do Secret Invasion and lead it into Dark Reign, that's perfect. Because not only do you have them taking over Spider-Man, if you have them beating up a bunch of aliens, bada bing, bada boom, you're on public support.
And you also have them questioning who's legit, who's actually, an alien, who's from Earth, who's a superhero, who isn't. You get all that paranoia, which is great. I mean, that's what made Secret Invasion so awesome, because you had a ton of heroes that were actually Skrull sleeper agents the whole time. Also, there's that line too about Kree sleeper cells in Far From Home. So we're not done with the Kree yet either. And I think, we're gonna get those guys in Captain Marvel too. But yeah.
Yeah,
That's,
well,
that was a good little nod and a wink.
The whole Skrull immigration thing very much feeds into what we're dealing with now too. So
Yes.
if you make them, the bad guys, where it seems like they've infiltrated the government, that's going to terrify the world. It's going to be perfect. It's going to be perfect. So, all right, man. Well, then that's all I have to pretty much say. Oh, I just want to mention one other piece of news.
Yeah,
but we won't dive into it. But today it was announced that
Taika Waititi.
Yeah, Taika Waititi.
I'm never gonna say his name. Right.
I know you're not, but I will always be there to say it correctly.
But I love him. So, and I'm so happy he is signed up for Thor 4.
Yes.
So
at the expense of Akita.
We're gonna get Thor 4.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. So, any final thoughts on Spidey? You pretty much
thought it was great. Honestly, it's the
it.
most fun that I had at Marvel's movies since probably Infinity War. Now, I will say
that's right. If you guys haven't read the pods, John didn't like Endgame.
I didn't like the whole thing. Like me, but for me, I know the beats, I know the broad strokes. I knew what the final hour was going to be 2 years before we got there. So when I got that final hour, I tell you, I've been tearing apart YouTube watching those clips because that final hour is just beautiful.
It's amazing.
On top of that, the writers also came out and said they argued directly against what the director said for the finality of Steve Rogers' story.
Yeah,
the writers say he jumped to a different dimension, and the director's like he's there the entire time. If he goes to a different dimension, That makes sense. That's fine.
Yeah.
If he's there the entire time, that cheeses me off. You don't have Captain America sit through 9/11 and the JFK assassination and all these other atrocities just because, time's going to break up when you yourself just went back in time to bang your dead girlfriend who's going to have Alzheimer's. You can't sit there and say, Cap cares about changing time when he turns around and does stuff like that. I'm sorry, your argument's dead.
I 100% agree with you there. So but we'll see with the future of the MCU where it
we
goes.
can talk that when a little bit more is released, because I have some other theories on that too.
The future will be a lot more clear next week.
Yeah. My final thought on Spider-Man Far From Home is I'm going to go see it again, maybe 3 times. It's great that movie can be feels so big, but feels so relatable and be so much fun after a huge movie like Endgame. I mean, Endgame was huge. It's still going. It's still, it's in its re-release, quote unquote. But to have a movie, I figured there might be some superhero fatigue after Endgame, because that was the big event that everything's been building to. But to go see a movie like Spider-Man and enjoy the whole thing, to laugh through the whole thing, Ned and Betty's relationship, and then their breakup, and how ridiculous and silly that was. I mean, everything. It was so lighthearted, but also had a lot of meat to it, and I just love that. It was great. All of the Mysterio stuff was great. I was wondering how they were going to do it, and they didn't disappoint. And the illusions. I think of Gob Bluth every time I say illusion. Arrested Development. Such a good show. Job. Gob. But the whole illusion sequence, when Peter goes to basically he's going to meet Nick Fury at the World Council, or I don't remember, like some summit in Germany. I don't remember the proper name of it. And it's all an illusion by Mysterio, and the way that transitions and the way he uses it is amazing. So I just thought that was very well done, especially for a potentially silly villain like Mysterio. But he is not silly at all in this movie.
They did. I mean, even the fishbowl head looked cool.
Yeah. Well, it was practical. It had a practical reason for being a big fishbowl.
And even Mysterio makes or Quentin Beck makes fun of, somebody get this ridiculous suit off me. Like even he knows the ridiculousness of it.
That's great.
But anyway, it's going to be very hard for me to decide. Like, I have to watch them back to back if I like Homecoming or Far From Home better, because they're both fantastic.
So, Far From Home for me, heads and tails.
Nice. Okay, I'm just going to say this. I'll give the Vulture just one notch ahead of Mysterio, but I love Mysterio so much it's hard for me to do. But I still got to give it to Vulture as far as bad guys go. But anyway, that will do it for our special edition of The Way We Nerd / Off the Rack. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and will return with us on this journey to because there's so many fun things coming up. Celebrity guests. We're going to go on treasure hunts where we go across the state, hopefully across the country, maybe even across the world someday. We get enough money. Going to comic book shops and flea markets and swap meets and garage sales, just looking for treasure.
Just tearing through it all.
Exactly. Modern day
literal treasure or comic book treasure?
I consider
or other
this
treasure.
is a treasure right here. This has Peter
Exactly.
Cullen talking and everything. The lights light up.
Yeah.
I can't believe I still play with toys and all that. John showed me that, and I got so excited. I'm 42 years old, and I got so excited.
It's an Optimus Prime toy with a Peter Cullen voice. It's the best.
Anyway,
You can't go wrong.
I am Daniel Villalobos. To my left,
Hudson Prime.
to my right,
Joshua Potter.
this was The Way We Nerd. See you next time.